Hi, it's Wendy Jensen. Welcome to the Healing Questions Guide series. Today our focus is going to be on high blood pressure. So we're going to go to page 102 under high blood pressure. You're going to see in the book that there's high blood pressure and low blood pressure and blood problems. But under high blood pressure, there are 13 questions, which is a little bit different from the low blood pressure. There's going to be 5 questions. But let's go over these questions. I'm going to go over them each individually. And what I would like you to do is, as I ask the question and it appears on the screen, ask yourself the question. If it doesn't seem to trigger you, go ahead and go on to the next question. But if it is something that feels really relevant for you, I want you to stop and turn off the video and really think about it for a minute, okay? And then turn the video back on and we'll continue on. Is that good? Okay, so number 1 question is, what benefit is there in believing that I'm always in danger or something disastrous is about to happen? And what would be a healthier, more realistic choice? So here's the deal with high blood pressure. People with high blood pressure their body is constantly in a state of panic or flight. They're ready to take off. They're waiting for disaster any minute. So when you ask yourself the question, it bypasses the ego mind. And when you ask the question, you think to yourself consciously, in real life, am I really under any danger? And that kind of calms the ego down. And when you ask the question, it's like, what is it I think that I'm in danger of? This can pull up some things like in your childhood that maybe you had an experience that really elevated your blood pressure and it got your heart pumping. And you think that you're in that state all the time and you don't realize that's been your natural state for so long. So when you ask the question, what benefit is there in believing I'm always in danger or something disastrous is about to happen? And that one triggers you, be still with it for a moment and turn off the video and see what's in there, what's behind that question for you. So let's move on to question number 2. What will it take to bring my mind and my thoughts to dwell on safety and peace? So when you ask that question, your mind is going to go out and it's going to grab ideas that will bring your mind to safety and peace. It's really almost the same question. We're just going about it another way. That's the beauty of the Healing Questions Guide, is that there's enough questions asked in different ways that help you bypass the ego mind and really connect with your higher self. The next question, number 3, what resentment of the past is calling to be forgiven? This one, most of us have something in the past that's really coming to the surface that we need to reevaluate how we digested that thing in the past. So when you ask the question, what resentment in the past is calling to be forgiven, I would encourage most of you to stop and be still with that. Anyone, anything, any event, anything in the past that is still seated in your soul, it's like a little dark mark it's needing to have light shed upon it. So that's a good one for everyone. Then number 4, what will it take to truly believe I have the power to reverse the unwanted direction that my life seems to be taking? A lot of people with high blood pressure, they get it when they're older because they feel like the way their life is unfolding is not what they had planned, and they feel they can't stop it. And so that right there is just a state of mind. My life is unfolding the way I didn't want it to, and I can't stop it. That feeling alone starts to generate specific chemicals within the body, and the blood is reacting and responding to that. And the heart and everything, you're putting your body into a state of resentment or remorse. So this is a good question too. Let's go on to question number 5. What internal anger needs to be addressed? And what will allow me to productively process this anger without hurting my loved ones? And here's the trick here, is because if we know we're angry inside, what we usually do is we stop it. We've been trained to shove that anger down because it's inappropriate socially to get angry and to explode. So we've trained ourselves to really shove it down. But what happens is it puts pressure on our mind-body system. And so if we ask ourselves consciously, what anger is it that seems to be underlying inside of me all the time? that needs to be addressed, and how can I productively address it without hurting anyone? Because deep inside, we really don't want to hurt anybody. And so we just shove it down there because we're afraid if we actually let it out that someone's going to get hurt, someone that we love and care about, or we could get in trouble, we could lose our job or whatever it is. It's a pretty important question. Let's go on to number 6. What benefit is there in believing that I cannot count on anyone or anything? And here's the secondary question. Is it really true? And then the third question in that same series is, what would be a healthier and more realistic outlook? So if we continue to believe that we cannot count on anyone or anything, then we feel very alone and by ourselves and constantly under pressure for our survival. But as you ask the question, is it really true? This is where we get to float around in our mind for a minute and access times in our life where people actually have shown up for us. However, if that belief is so true that no one's ever there for you, even when they are there for you, you're not going to notice. That's how powerful your mind is. And so it might be really difficult for you to think back to times when people actually have been there for you. But I promise you, as you look back, we can't be here alone. We can't survive on our own. And so there are times in your life when you have been, you have had someone show up for you and supported you. And here's the deal. When you keep thinking this thought, no one can be there, I can't trust anybody to show up for me. When that is your outlook, that's all you see, that's what you're attracting in your life, is people who show up that way for you. That's what is really cool, is the universe is designed to bring us exactly what it is we think and believe. And then it shows up in our life, and we don't want to take responsibility for it. But when we ask questions like these healing questions, and we really get clear about what our mind is thinking that's contributing to what's going on in our body, we can look in and say, is it true? Is it really, really true? And what is going to happen to me if I keep thinking this thought? Pretty powerful. Okay, number 7, what relationship needs to be resolved? So now we have an opportunity to look into our relationships. The reason I designed these questions to be so thorough, and it sounds like we're just getting into every aspect of our life, is because your blood pressure, your blood flows through every organ of your body. It is your life force energy, that and air, and this, it's an important part of your functionality. So it actually does affect a lot of your life and even into your relationships, especially if you're in a relationship that seems hostile or it feels like you're on eggshells all the time, or you feel like it's just unsatisfactory. It's going to start affecting your health, and it falls right here within your blood. And what will it take to resolve it once and for all? When you ask your mind, what will it take to resolve it once and for all, and be still with it and not resist what could come through for you, then you're going to start thinking of ideas of, well, if you come into the place of I'm ready to resolve it once and for all, you might find yourself being willing to go to counseling that you've never wanted to go to before because you didn't think it was going to work, or you didn't want to be that vulnerable. What will it take to resolve it once and for all? You might need to have a conversation with your loved one that you haven't had for a long time, or you've resisted because you didn't want to hurt them. So realize that all of these things, they affect your body and your blood pressure. So let's go to 8. What will it take for me to accept and receive higher levels of real love? This is a big one, because when your blood is pumping to the rhythm of love, your whole body knows how to heal itself and bring everything into synergistic balance. That's the power of love. And so what will it take for me to accept and receive higher levels of real love? The word real is the powerful word in this question, because a lot of us have never even experienced real love. What is real love? When you ask your mind that, it starts to search, what is real love? Have I ever experienced it? And the truth is, real love is all around you. all the time. You're swimming in it. It's just you haven't allowed yourself to receive it because there's a certain level of vulnerability that we have to go to in order to receive that. So when you ask the mind again on number 8, what will it take for me to accept and receive higher levels of real love? When you ask the mind that, and just, this is a question that I would be still with, be open to, and teach your mind to see the love that's all around you in everything, in a child that smiles at you, in the beauty of the earth and nature, in little things that happen to you throughout the day for no reason at all, that just make you feel like there's someone out there that really is looking out for you. So that's number 8. Number 9, what will it take for me to learn how to nurture and parent myself as an adult to fill the gaps in my childhood? This is a big one because we can't go back and recapture that love that we felt we didn't get when we were little. However, we can nurture and love and care for ourselves. In fact, we're the only ones that can give us the appropriate and the needed amounts of love that we require at this time. So high blood pressure is one of those things that comes on later in life a lot of times. And when you take that opportunity to start opening up to loving yourself at a deeper level, another question could be, what part of me do I still not love? What part of me can I not forgive? This high blood pressure is being constantly in a state of resistance to love. Let's go to number 10. How would my life be different if I knew at the deepest part of my soul that I am acceptable, enough, and sufficient, and that there is nothing I need to prove my worth? Now, this is a power question. It's kind of the same question as number 9, only we're going about it a different way. How would my life be different if I knew at the deepest part of my soul that I'm acceptable, enough, and sufficient, and that there is nothing I need to do to prove my worth? I hope you understand that you don't have to prove that you're worthy or that you have worth and value. That is something you brought here. You came with it. Each soul on the planet is so worthy, and they are worth the life and the love that's available to them. It's just how much of it have you allowed yourself to receive? So let's go to number 11. What am I trying to prove by needing to control and dominate everything? And what would it take to approach life differently? Now, when we're living in a state of fear, control feels like it feels safer. But what happens is when we're trying to control everything, and there's so many variables going about in our life that we can't control, constantly trying to control something you can't control creates high blood pressure. So that kind of makes a lot of sense. So it's an opportunity to look into your life and say, man, why is it I need to control everything? What do I do in my life to try and control every outcome? Now, if you've heard people in your life say you're kind of controlling, or if you think about the people in your life and imagine just asking them, do you think I'm controlling? And do you think that their answer would be yes? Then you are being caught here in a little inquiry trap. And why I call it an inquiry trap is when you ask the question and you become real with it, because it's relevant to what's going on with your body. And when you admit it and you own it and you accept it and say, why? Why do I need to control? Instead of getting after yourself and resisting that you're controlling, you're asking why? Why do I need to control? What am I afraid of? It helps to neutralize it and to help you create a whole new perspective, and kind of opens and expands your consciousness to consider that you don't need to control anything. It's an illusion that you have any control over anything except for your own mind and your own thoughts. That's what we're trying to gain control over anyway. So let's go into number 12. What will it take for me to come into balance with money, sex, and time so that my health can improve? So it's a very specific question, and I would take it in all 3 parts. What will it take for me to come into balance with money, When you ask your mind, what will it take for me to come into balance with money? It's a different approach than I need more money. I need more money is so desperate. What will it take for me to come into balance with money? Well, you just opened up your consciousness and allowed a window of opportunity for wisdom to flow through you. So take it again with sex. What will it take for me to come into balance with sex? Your higher mind is the only one that knows how to do that, how to pull that information in. But if you never ask that question, you're going to always feel in misalignment with your sexuality and with your partner. So the third part of that question is, what would it take to come into balance with time? Now, this has been a big one for me in my life because I'm always late. And when you're late and you're running late, your blood pressure starts going. Now, when you feel like you're late to the world, or that you've got to catch up all the time, or that you're behind, you're putting your whole body into a state that causes that blood to pump faster than it's really designed to do. So your body is letting you know, hey, you got me on high alert all the time. What will it take for you to come into balance with time? And your mind could tell you, maybe you need to set your clock back and trick your mind. Let your mind tell you some of those solutions and remedies. And now we're back finally to the last question in this series, and that is, it's a biggie. What will it take to approach life more gently and peacefully, knowing that all I've come to do and learn will be accomplished whether I stress over it or not? I love that question. Because the reality is you're constantly moving forward. You're constantly learning. This Earth School is made for you to be able to learn a lesson every day. Even if you don't feel like you've learned a lesson, those lessons are there and available to you. And you are progressing. And you're going to progress whether you stress over it and worry about it or not. Stress and worry are great contributors to high blood pressure. So with these questions, again, if one really rang true for you, it's an opportunity for you to sit down and journal. Get intimate with the question. Ask for divine guidance from your higher self, from your source, from God, and open up that dialogue to receive information. The positive affirmation, this is something you could take a piece of the affirmation, or you can take you can use the whole affirmation. What I do with affirmations is I put them on the fridge, or I put them on I write them with a what do you call it, dry erase marker on my mirror. And that works for me. That helps me remember every day. Another way you can remember is to write it down and put it in the bathroom, because you are going to hit there at least once that day. And if you put it up above you, you can see it in the bathroom. So here's the positive affirmation. I gently take in the breath of life with a peaceful promise that I will fulfill my full potential. As I pursue my deepest desires, my blood flows to the rhythm of love. I am connected to my divine source and to those who have come to help me and whom I have come to serve. Just repeating this affirmation throughout the day is going to bring your consciousness to a more peaceful state. What I think would be cool is if you could actually test that out and see that if you don't repeat this over and over again, if your actual blood pressure doesn't go down. Now here's the trick. It's not just something that you say, you have to feel it. Really feel those words and think the different thought. And when you create a different environment, mental and emotional energy, when you create that difference in your body knows how to heal itself. But it's constantly, if it feels like it's constantly working against you, that's when it's going to call out and say, hey, I cannot do this anymore. You've got to come into peace with yourself. So thank you for watching, and I am excited to see how your blood pressure is affected by these questions and about the affirmations. You can go to my website at wendyjensen.com, or you can leave your comment below. Thank you.